What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Shook Daddy from Shook Earth Media, and today we're looking at the 2021 finale of The Walking Dead. This is finale of part 1 of 3. They're doing 3 sections of 8 episodes each, and that's what we're looking at here. And let's just jump right into it. So we'll start off like how I usually do, generalities. This episode it's pretty okay. I did enjoy it. It has good action. It has a lot of the payoffs that we've been looking for, and the rest of it, you guys know my feelings on the Reaper arc overall. That's mostly filler, and this episode hasn't really done anything to change that. But there's enough like entertaining action stuff to distract me from that, and that's kind of what we were missing up to this point, where I've been willing to forgive some storylines just because, like, some of the action and the payoffs are there. And, this episode is one of those cases. We start off here, Daryl and the Reaper crew looking at the walkers and discussing how they're walking in circles and how they're being herded like the Whisperers. And, then we get to see a guy on the Reaper crew. He goes out into the woods here, and he's leading them, and then he gets attacked, and seeing our crew do the Whisperer thing, it's something that felt inevitable. And and while it's nothing earth-shattering or all that crazy, it was fun to see. I think we got one of our crew here. He comes in and stabs him, and we've seen that before, of course, but it was good to see the payoff finally. And like I said, this should have been their plan all along, and the fact that they didn't think of this earlier is like, come on. But yeah, so this all turned out pretty okay. And then the second half of the episode is our crew on the home front dealing with a storm and having to fend off walkers and deal with windows breaking in and stuff, and Carol and the crew have to deal with the fire, and they have to deal with a wall breach and stuff like that, and we don't actually get to see outside the house, which is probably the disappointment with this part of the episode. But, this is, again, it's not anything earth-shattering. We've seen the storms in the spin-off. I'm pretty sure they've had it in this show as well. But overall, it ramps up the tension a little bit. But it does feel a little artificial in the sense of, like, doesn't feel connected to anything else that's happening. But, it's not, it's an okay storyline. It's definitely trying to give it that finale feel and put all of our characters in danger. One thing I forgot to say earlier when I'm talking about generalities is that this episode has a ridiculous fucking cliffhanger that I can't stand. It was absolutely so abrupt. I mean, I think this is a worse cliffhanger than we've ever seen on the show, except for maybe Negan killing somebody, but at least that got people talking. This is not a cliffhanger that's going to get people talking, but we'll get back to that later. Okay, and then we get these scenes with Pope and the Reapers, and they're really trying to hammer home that, like, division between Pope and Leia, and it just didn't really land for me. Like, if this guy is really that willing to sacrifice his own people, if she buys into the whole we're God's chosen people thing, she'd probably be on board with it. And if she's not on board with it, I don't know why all of a sudden she has an issue with their people dying, because they just been attacking people on sight forever, so they've had to deal with losses before. We've discussed this before. Now, we've had generic villains in The Walking Dead before. We had the wolves. We had the people in the hospital with Beth and stuff. But all those episodes, it was fairly quick. We're 8 episodes plus, if you include the Season 10 bonus episodes. We're many episodes in, a season's worth of episodes in to this Reaper storyline, and honestly, if it was just like over and done really quick, if it was just a few episodes, maybe I'd feel a little bit more positively about it. But in general, it's just like this payoff. I mean, I'm liking these action scenes. Again, we'll get back to more of that later, but again, this whole Reaper storyline just falls flat. It's filler. I don't care about Leia. I don't care about Pope. None of this is all that interesting to me. So now there was a part that I liked. It's a line that Daryl says. It's a very Daryl thing to say, and I did enjoy it when Pope has another monologue about a dog that he used to have, and he says, "Oh, he gave me that look, like he didn't know if he wanted to lick me or bite me." And then Daryl says, "Oh well, don't worry, I ain't gonna lick you." And I love that part. It's a very Daryl thing to say, and again, I mean, it feels weirdly like Daryl, even though he's been such a focus in these episodes, he feels like he's been sidelined in a way because he's not acting like himself for obvious reasons. So I don't know. I liked it when Daryl was talking a bit more. I mean, they kind of got away from him being the mumbly, Mr. Mumbly, in season 7 and 8. In season 9 and 10, they had him doing more stuff, talking. I mean, that conflict Rick and stuff, and it was just good to see. And now he feels like he kind of retreated back into his shell a little bit, but we did get that line, so we got a little bit more out of him, and I appreciated that. Okay, and then we get this scene of them discussing who's going to do what. They have a game plan because the windmill's on fire. It got struck by lightning, and they got to put it out, and they have to patch a hole in the gate, and that's all great. I don't mind that storyline. Now, that is all just kind of a MacGuffin because we don't get to see any of that. I don't know if we're going to see that when it picks up again next year. But, we just kind of spend the rest of the episode in this house, and I would have rather been out with the crew, out and about, doing stuff and things. But it's great to see Aaron taking the lead here. Again, a few weeks ago, I had a thumbnail that said Aaron is the new Rick, and I do still believe that. I think he's a great character. He's one of my favorites right now. So, yeah, it's great to see him in a leadership role, for sure. But then after he leaves the house, he's out of this episode. So, it's very brief. But we have this argument over who's going to do what, and it feels not very, I don't know. We got Connie saying she wants to go out and help, and then Magnus like, no, we don't want, you just got here. And it's like, I don't know why that matters, that she just got here. But it's all good. It's all good. And then we got Virgil wanting to help, and that's good to see. But again, I feel like they didn't really do his character due diligence because we didn't really see the transformation over time. He just kind of showed up different this season. So, I don't know. I'm not really into it, honestly. This lady with the bow she's like a supporting character, but she's one I feel like should get more shine. She has had a lot of key moments in the past, and now it's just kind of there, and I would like to see her do more. Yeah, and they set up this conflict between Connie and Carol. Connie's like, oh, I want to go with Carol and help Carol out. And I'm assuming we're going to see this in the next episode next year, but they set that up, and then there's no payoff for it in this episode. So it just, again, I guess they're setting up for later. I don't know if this episode was designed to be a finale originally, or if that's, like, contractually how it ended up working out. But, like, to me, a finale, this was, like, one of the shortest episodes of the year. I feel like it should have gone a little longer. And I would like to see a bit more closure on some of the storylines. It kind of feels a very abrupt ending. We'll get to that later, but it just doesn't feel like the end of part 1. It just kind of feels like a cliffhanger that we're supposed to pick up on next week. So, I don't know. Maybe you guys feel differently. Let me know. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out yet another lighting mistake during Pope's monologue. In his glasses, you can see the light, okay? There's the light right there. And this square thing, if you guys don't know, if you never worked on a set before, you almost never just have a light beaming down. You usually have something in front of it to soften it, because you get these hard shadows if you just point a light at somebody. You want it to look more natural, so you put what's called a silk. We call it a silk in the industry, and that's what the square thing is. So, not only do you see the silk, you see the actual light, and it's like, dude, you didn't notice that? Come on, dude. And then it's several times in this scene as well. It's not just like one point that I pinpointed. So, that's something when you have a character with glasses that somebody's should just be looking at the glasses to make sure that they didn't miss that. And the fact that like this got through editing as well, it's like, oh my god, dude, guys, come on. And with the other lighting mistakes earlier this year, it's just like they're getting sloppy, man. I don't know who's their DP now, but that guy Dwayne they had before was way better, dude. I mean, granted, there's always going to be mistakes here and there, but like it just kind of adds up a bunch of very noticeable things. So I don't know, maybe nobody else noticed, but I sure did. Okay, and then we get a minefield, to the perfect counter to a horde coming in with our people dispersed within it. And yeah, I mean, I think that was a great idea, and it was really cool effects. And there's some close-up explosions of zombies that I really enjoyed. Now, the only issue with this is that we're with Daryl as a point of view character, and we don't really spend too much time with the rest of the cast until later in the episode. So the minefield, it ends up just being a stalling tactic more than anything. We don't get really any real tension other than I think it's Cole. Cole gets hit with shrapnel or something, but other than that, you know, I don't know. It's just kind of there. It doesn't really do anything for the tension other than some cool visuals. So I didn't really feel concerned about any of our cast. Now, it makes sense because they would be able to follow behind zombies and then keep their distance. And, you know, if a zombie walks through, then they know it's safe to walk through at that point. So it makes sense. It tracks, but we could have had this great suspense. We could have had a character we know get blown up or something, or get hit by an explosion and get blown back. I mean, we got Cole, but like I said, they didn't really do the work to make us care about Cole at this point. So I think it was Cole anyway. If it's not, we'll find out next year. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, also going back to earlier, I'm not so sure how Pope is so certain that, oh, the enemy is near, because one guy, I mean, he's dealing with a horde. He might have gotten swarmed by zombies, you know, and walkers or whatever, and it's just like, no, I don't get it. He acts like he knows everything at all times, when he's really not that smart. And we dissected before how he's like, oh, you got wounds on your back, that means you're running away. It's like, no, it means he got attacked from behind, dude. And I went back and watched the episode again, and he gets hit from behind while he's still fighting, so it makes no sense. Like, he just incorrectly killed a man because he thought he was lying when he wasn't. So it's just very, very silly, man. So then we get this scene with Judith and, I'm forgetting her name right now, but Aaron's daughter that they saved from the satellite station. And, you know, honestly, I found this scene a little cringeworthy. Because, was it last week or the week before, we tried to do work to make Judith feel a bit more vulnerable, worried about her mother, and missing her mother and stuff, and now we're right back to her being, oh, she's this strong, wise character that knows everything, and it's just like, I don't know, it falls flat to me. I think that she should be a bit more vulnerable in general. I mean, this is like a great legacy character to have. Since Rick Grimes isn't in the show and Carl's not in the show, it's really important to have a character like this. But even Carl, with being older and more experienced than Judith is at this point, even he was showing a bit more vulnerability at various points than this. I mean, she's talking about how, oh, I'm afraid all the time. I just learn how to use it. And it's like, well, it would be, you would show that a bit more, I feel like. I don't know, I feel like she's a bit too, I don't know, am I off base on that? Definitely let me know in the comments, but that was just my gut feeling. This scene didn't work for me. It's cringy. I didn't like it. But then we get Virgil chiming in. Virgil chimes in and says, oh, I see your mother in you, and I actually like that part. I feel like that part worked a lot better. And you know, getting to see a bit more of Virgil makes sense, but I don't know if she knows that Virgil knew Michonne at this point, and if she does know that, shouldn't she be like a bit on edge about him in general, because she did lock Michonne in like a room and stuff? Yeah, and then we get Maggie and Negan. They get to the wall, and again, we don't have that tension because we weren't there with them while they're going through the minefield. So it's just like, how did they get there? I would have liked to see more of that. Also, Maggie takes off her mask at this point, and it's like, I mean, if anything, it's a distracting tactic. If they don't know that you're not a walker, they treat you a little differently. So I think it would help. I mean, Negan leaves it on, and that's fine. It's not like we didn't know who this was. I mean, I feel like the directors just want to see the faces. This is something George R. R. Martin complained about a lot about during Game of Thrones, was like them taking their helmets off. But directors, like, we want to see their facial expressions, we want to see their eyes and stuff like that. So I can get that, but yeah, I would have rather just. I feel like we should have done more POV stuff with them going through the minefield. It's a missed opportunity. And then we get the payoff we've all been waiting for. It's your boy, Daryl, of course, becoming the turncoat we knew he always was. And that's why the storyline fell so flat, because we've just been waiting for this whole time. But it is satisfying to see the payoff, I'm not going to lie. But now I understand why last week we had this scene with them where they bum each other a smoke, or Daryl bums him a smoke, and then they talk about, or they're outside the food storage thing. And now I see that that scene was supposed to be a payoff for this. I still think that the setup wasn't necessary because, bumming a cigarette, it's a very easy thing to understand. It's not like we needed to establish that in advance. And also, seeing the food storage thing, I mean, that would have made sense if it didn't say food storage right on it. So we didn't need that setup scene at all. I just, it was interesting to see the payoff and why they felt that scene was necessary. But again, this very good scene. I like to see Daryl stab him through the throat. That's all well and good while he's still out the cigarettes dangling from his mouth. So it's a good image, and yeah, I like this part. And he's still got the cigarette. And this horde looks pretty good. We get the smoke and the explosions and stuff. Visually, it's great. And then we get this little, like, minigun thing of, various arrows. And, I mean, it's a cool looking thing. It's kind of silly to me. I don't know how practical this really would be. But, it's got a nice look to it. And then we get Daryl revealing his secret to Leia. And, I don't really know why he trusts her at this point. I mean, it does work out because he gets her to turn against Pope, which helps him in this particular instance, but doesn't really help him in the long run necessarily. But yeah, I mean, it was a bit surprising to see him just like give away his secret like that. Now, they did a fair job setting up, why Leia wants to turn against Pope, being that he's like killing his own people and putting their family in danger. But we've already discussed that. I feel like she would have seen that coming, or, it would have been a feature of how they're behaving. So, yeah, I don't think they did a great job setting up the family aspect for Leia. I don't really see what the connection is. She's like, oh, I'd do anything to protect my family, but I don't see anybody showing her any kindness, any friendship, any real meaningful connection whatsoever. Again, she's connected more with Daryl than we see her with anybody in the Reaper crew. So I still don't really understand why she considers them a family. I mean, I get, like, surviving together. Like, you need other people to survive, so you might be willing to do some heinous things, and you might be willing to overlook certain things, and you call them family because you want to feel like you're part of a group. But to really feel like, oh, I love these people, I need to connect them, we need to see more of why that is for this to really be hitting. Because I don't really see anything from Leia's point of view at all. I feel like she should have gone with Daryl at this point. I don't know. I don't really get it. If she cares so much about her family, why'd she let Daryl live then? It would have been obviously better for her if Daryl didn't, because they're working against each other's interests at this point. And I guess there's that relationship going on that she feels she doesn't want to, but I don't really get it. So, and then we get Maggie hot wiring a car, which I thought was kind of funny, especially like there's this guy right there, and it's like, shouldn't she just wait until like the guy like goes away to start the car? Because he's gonna notice right away. I don't know if you want him to notice that right away, but it's all good. Bug-eyed crazy. And then we get Gabriel sniping, and this is a continuing thing with his character, but like, if you lose your eye on your dominant side, you'd probably be, I don't know, it's kind of hard. It's gonna be harder to aim with the opposite eye, and it just like it visually looks funny because he still has his, even though his eyes look in there, you have to be looking down the barrel, because right now he wouldn't be seeing much of anything from the angle he's looking at. So if you've actually shot guns before, these scenes with Gabriel have always bothered me. But most people probably don't care because they haven't really shot guns before. But I did enjoy seeing him snipe like that. I don't know if we set up that he's a good shot like that. That's a fact of his character I wasn't aware of. But it was fun to see, for sure. And yeah. But yeah, I just think it's kind of funny. I mean, they really should have just made his left eye that he lost if they're gonna just have him still use his right hand to shoot. So I don't know. It's just kind of funny to me. Then we get Pope dying. Good riddance. Unfortunately, the storyline doesn't seem like it's over. We're gonna get some more stuff with the Reapers yet. Okay, and then we get Leia turning against Daryl in a way. She doesn't go full attacking Daryl, which I feel like would make more sense. Instead, she radios and says, "Oh, Daryl killed Pope." And I really don't think that she thought it through, because, now she's going to try to be the leader of the group, right? And, I mean, there's already been lots of evidence of conflict between her and Pope. Letting Daryl join their group was very much her idea and her doing. So she's going to get blamed for that by her own family, right? And, I mean, the fact that she was there when it happened and Daryl still managed to get away, it's not going to work out for her in the end. And if it does work out for her, it's bad writing. So she hasn't really thought this through. I can understand from a character standpoint the whole, like, oh, I'm protecting my family thing, but I've already talked about how I don't understand how she views them as a family at this point, so... I mean, she knew them before the apocalypse, and she still left them to live in a cabin. So, I mean, how close is she really with these people? It does not track to me. It really doesn't. So, I don't know. And honestly, I don't know. Daryl, he tried to tell her last episode about everything, and I feel like he should have been working up to trying to get her to leave to begin with, or I don't know. He had so many opportunities to do the right thing, and it just didn't work out. So I don't know. Again, storyline fell flat to me. And then we get the walkers finally breach this door, and again, it's just kind of an arbitrary cliffhanger moment. We get Judith going down to the basement and it's getting flooded, which it's not a nice visual. But I mean, they went down there because the one girl was looking for something to fight back with, and she ends up with a broomstick, dude. And that might work for somebody like Morgan, but not for a kid that can't muster up the force to crack a skull open with that. I don't know. It's very silly. But I mean, seeing the flooding basement reminded me of the episode with Alicia and what was the kid's name? They had the storm in season 5, and she's with the character that killed her brother. And that episode was actually pretty good. I mean, a lot of people were lukewarm on it, I remember seeing, but I thought the episode was pretty decent. But that episode did the whole flooding house thing a lot better with the storm and stuff, so it just reminded me, like, oh, we've done the storm thing better before. So, it's just an arbitrary thing to put our characters in danger for the cliffhanger's sake. And, I mean, we know they're not all gonna die. Judith's gonna be fine. So, I don't know, it's not working for me. And we get Leia looking menacingly over the thing, and she's gonna shoot the arrow thing. Then we get this thing going off, and that's the end of the episode. Such a cheap cliffhanger, man. Like, nothing is resolved in this episode. It just feels like we're cutting off a two-parter, really. So, I didn't care for this cliffhanger at all. And it's not going to get people talking. I don't believe any of our characters in danger. No major characters are going to die as a result of this. And if they do, it would be so dissatisfying. If Negan dies, if Maggie dies, like, such a waste of great characters. And them breaching into the house, again, I'm not impressed with that either. So this cliffhanger is a wet fart. I said this a few weeks ago, and somebody mentioned it to me, so I'm going to say that again. But, yeah, I hated this cliffhanger, and the episode ended, and then the episode insider thing came up. I was like, what? You're going with that as your cliffhanger, dude? I was not happy. I should have been rolling for that. But all in all, again, I said it last week, and I still believe it. If I did my ranking of all the seasons a few weeks ago, and if I was to rank these 8 episodes, it would be dead last. There's not even any hesitation. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to rewatch anything. I'm just not really engaged with this Reaper storyline for the reasons we discussed, and I mean, this finale ramps up the tension, there's good action and stuff, but again, it's in service of a storyline that I don't find interesting. And the Commonwealth is completely absent in this episode, which makes sense. I understand why they didn't do that, but that's the only storyline I really am curious about at this point, even though it's been kind of stalling lately. They haven't really kept it going as strong as I would like, but again, you know, that's just my feelings on this episode, guys. So, I mean, this episode's okay. It's one of the better ones this season. I mean, yeah, my favorite parts this season, obviously the Gollum guys from 2 episodes ago. That part with Connie was cool. Although I had some issues with that too, and we discussed that in that episode. But that part's very memorable. People are going to be talking about that in the future. Nothing else so far this season is worth discussing or thinking about. So that's just how I'm feeling about it today, guys. So let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments down below. I just want you to let you guys know I love this show, okay? I want the show to be the best version of itself. Right now, it's seeming like the final season. You want to leave your show leaving people wanting more, and so far the season has failed to do that. I think by the time that this series finale rolls around, I'm ready to be done with the show. I'm already ready to be done with the show, which is very upsetting to me because it's one of my favorites of all time. And I love the comics, and I love the characters and the cast, and there's so much going for the show that it's really disappointing to see this fall from grace. So definitely let me know if you guys agree with that. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Anyways, if you like this video, please smash like, please smash subscribe. Check out ShookEarth.com for more info about my comic. We'll be releasing info about that soon. We're going to start ramping up promotion about that, so we're getting to the point where we're ready to show you guys some stuff. So, yeah, that's going to be cool. But, yeah. Otherwise, guys, check out my daily videos this week. Be sure to check back with the channel for more videos and live streams, etc. We will be continuing to do not exactly daily videos, but almost every day we're going to have a video. So, hopefully, I can see you guys here for that. Peace out. We'll see you on the next one.